They say that pride comes before a fall, but in our world today, humility is often mistaken for weakness. People flaunt their achievements, their wealth, their status, as if the louder they proclaim their success, the more they truly possess it. But let me tell you a story that might just change the way you see success, power, and the quiet strength that lies within those who do not feel the need to show off. In a small town, there lived a man named Samuel. Samuel wasn't rich, at least not in the material sense. He didn't drive a flashy car, wear expensive suits, or post daily updates of his accomplishments on social media. In fact, most people barely noticed him. He worked quietly at the local library, helping students, maintaining order, and fixing small problems no one else wanted to deal with. On the surface, his life seemed ordinary, even invisible. But beneath that ordinary exterior was something extraordinary, a relentless drive, a deep sense of purpose, and a humility that few could understand. While others were busy shouting about what they had achieved, Samuel was busy building a foundation. He studied quietly, read relentlessly, learned the secrets of business, life, and human nature. Every day he invested in himself, in ways that no one saw. He didn't boast about his knowledge, nor did he seek recognition for his efforts. To the world, he was just a humble man doing his quiet work. But in that quiet, he was growing stronger, wiser, more prepared than anyone else who was constantly chasing attention. Humility, many believe, is simply about being modest. But true humility is more than modesty. It is understanding your worth, acknowledging your strengths and weaknesses, and choosing to act without the need for validation from others. It is about focusing on the process rather than the applause, on mastery rather than acknowledgement. And this is where the power of humility lies. It allows you to work, learn, and grow without the distraction of proving yourself to anyone else. Meanwhile, in that same town, there was a man named Victor. Victor had everything outwardly. He had a successful business, flashy cars, and a constant stream of social media followers who admired his lifestyle. Victor loved to show off, to remind the world of his achievements. But there was a catch. While Victor was busy being seen, he was often overlooked when it came to real opportunities. People admired him for appearances, not for substance. When challenges arose, Victor struggled because his success was built on perception rather than real, lasting foundations. One day, a major opportunity came to the town. A large company wanted to invest in local talent for a new project. They were looking for someone who not only had knowledge and skills, but also patience, resilience, and the ability to stay calm under pressure. Victor immediately began promoting himself, talking loudly about his past deals, his connections, his experience. Meanwhile, Samuel continued his work quietly, focusing on learning and refining his approach. He didn't know if the opportunity would come to him, but he knew that he had prepared himself for it regardless. When the company arrived, they were initially impressed by Victor's flashy presentation, his confident boasting, and his seemingly impressive resume. But as the interviews progressed, it became clear that Victor's knowledge was surface level, his solutions were shallow, and his patience was limited. On the other hand, Samuel, calm and composed, presented well-thought-out ideas, practical solutions, and a clear vision. He didn't need to shout or exaggerate. His preparation spoke for itself. The company saw the difference between someone who sought attention and someone who simply focused on mastery, and in the end, Samuel was chosen. This story illustrates the essence of humility. Humility doesn't mean hiding your talents. It means recognizing that real success doesn't require constant validation. It means understanding that the louder you shout, the less people may trust your authenticity. Samuel didn't show off, but when it mattered, his quiet preparation allowed him to win big. Victor showed off, but when it mattered, his lack of substance became evident. Humility also allows for growth. When you are humble, you are open to learning, correction, and improvement. You don't assume you already know everything. You don't put your ego above your progress. Samuel's humility allowed him to learn from every mistake, to adapt, and to continually improve. Victor's arrogance, on the other hand, closed doors. He thought he knew enough, and in doing so, he stopped growing. Another dimension of humility is patience. Those who show off often seek instant gratification. They want acknowledgement, applause, and admiration immediately. But true success is rarely instant. It is cultivated slowly, silently, over years of consistent effort. Samuel didn't seek recognition for his hard work because he understood that meaningful results take time. Humility teaches us to focus on the long game, to value the journey over the applause, and to trust that preparation and dedication will eventually pay off. There is also a powerful social aspect to humility. People are naturally drawn to those who are modest, who listen more than they speak, who give more than they demand. Humility builds respect and trust, both of which are far more valuable than temporary fame. Samuel's quiet nature made him approachable, reliable, and genuinely respected in his community. Victor's constant boasting made him envied but rarely trusted. People may admire the loud, flashy achiever, but they follow and support the humble, competent individual. Now imagine applying this principle in your own life. How often have you felt the pressure to show off, to post achievements on social media, to make sure the world knows about your wins? There is nothing wrong with sharing your successes, but there is a profound difference between sharing to inspire and sharing to validate your ego. Humility invites you to focus on the work itself, on your personal growth, on the silent victories that prepare you for the big ones. Humility also shapes the way we handle setbacks. Those who boast are often devastated when the world doesn't applaud their efforts. They tie their identity to external recognition, and when it's not forthcoming, they falter. The humble, however, view setbacks as part of the journey. They don't lose confidence because their worth is not dependent on validation. Samuel faced challenges, failures, and obstacles, but he never needed anyone to witness his struggle for it to matter. He learned, adapted, and continued quietly building towards success. Consider this: the greatest achievers in history often possessed extraordinary humility. They understood the value of silent work, of dedication without applause, of mastery without needing to prove it constantly. They knew that true power is internal, not external. Humility allows you to build a life that is resilient, focused, and meaningful, rather than fragile and dependent on the opinions of others. And here lies the ultimate truth. When you combine humility with action, preparation, and persistence, you create a force that is unstoppable. Samuel didn't boast about his abilities, but he acted, he prepared, he stayed consistent. And in the end, his quiet strength won him the opportunity, the respect, and the success he deserved. Victor, loud and attention-seeking, had all the external signs of success, but without a strong foundation, his victories were fleeting and fragile. Humility also teaches gratitude. When you are humble, you recognize the help, support, and guidance of others. You don't see success as solely your own doing, but as a result of continuous learning, perseverance, and collaboration. Samuel acknowledged the mentors who taught him, the failures that guided him, and the opportunities that shaped him. This gratitude not only grounded him, but made him even more effective in his journey. Boastfulness, on the other hand, blinds you to gratitude, breeding arrogance and entitlement, which eventually isolate you. Let us not forget the inner peace that humility brings. Those who constantly seek recognition live in tension, always chasing external validation. The humble live with a quiet confidence. They are not anxious about what others think because they measure success by their own standards, their own growth, their own integrity. Samuel slept peacefully each night, knowing that he had done his best, that he had acted with integrity, and that one day the results of his quiet work would reveal themselves. Victor, however, often felt restless, fearing that the world would notice the cracks in his facade. Humility also empowers others. When you don't feel the need to show off, you make space for others to shine. You mentor, support, and lift people without seeking attention. Samuel's humility allowed him to help countless students in the library, guiding them without expecting anything in return. By empowering others, he created a ripple effect of impact that no boast could match. Loudness might grab attention for a moment, but humility creates lasting influence. As we reflect on this, remember this simple truth. The world will always reward those who focus on mastery, patience, and integrity over appearances. Show off, and you might win temporary applause, but show humility, and you prepare for lasting success. The quiet wins, the diligent succeed, and the humble rise while others are busy being noticed. Samuel didn't chase attention, he chased excellence. He didn't crave validation, he built competence. And in the end, he won big, not because the world recognized him first, but because he recognized himself, and he let his results speak louder than words ever could. So, in your life, choose humility. Focus on the work that matters. Invest in your skills, your character, your persistence. Don't worry about who sees it or who applauds. Let your preparation, your resilience, and your integrity speak for themselves. In a world obsessed with showing off, the quiet achiever often becomes the true victor. And when you finally reach the pinnacle, when opportunity knocks, when your moment arrives, you will be ready. Not because you shouted the loudest, but because you worked the hardest, learned the most, and trusted the power of humility. Remember, humility is not weakness. It is strength under control. It is patience over impulse, substance over appearance, mastery over display. When you embrace humility, you unlock a power few ever understand. The power to work quietly, grow steadily, and win big without ever needing to show off. The world may never notice your effort at first, but it will eventually recognize the results. And those results born from humility will last far longer than any moment of empty applause. Let your actions speak, let your competence shine, and let your humility guide you. Don't show off, don't boast, don't chase validation. Focus on growth, integrity, and mastery. The quiet path is often the hardest, but it is also the most rewarding. Samuel's story is not unique. It is a lesson for every person willing to work silently, think deeply, and act with purpose. The power of humility is waiting for you. Let it guide your journey, shape your character, and lead you to the success that matters, the kind that lasts. Because when all is said and done, the loudest voice in the room rarely wins. The one who quietly prepares, works, and masters themselves wins everything.